Is there really anybody out there who doesn't want more? I heard someone the other day say, not everybody has a desire for more. And I'm sorry, I'm calling a little bit of BS on that because I just don't believe it. If you don't know me, I'm Michelle. I'm a woman in my 50s who is navigating life, retirement, and building something new in the digital space while figuring out what more life really means at this stage of life. I'm sharing my journey, the wins, the wake-up calls, everything I'm learning along the way, because I know I'm not the only one feeling this way. If this message resonates with you or you have something to say, I'd love for you to subscribe to my channel so we can walk through this life together, support each other, and explore what's still possible for our lives from here. So let's chat about it. Is it real or not when someone says they don't desire anything more? Or less for that matter. Now, before you come at me, I'm not saying everybody wants more money. I'm not saying everybody wants a bigger house, a nicer car, a different job, or some great glamorous life. That's not what I mean by more. I mean more life, more fun, more joy, more love, more laughter, more freedom, more peace, more time, more adventure, more connection, more memories, more purpose, more happiness, more, maybe less stress, less worrying, less working all the time, less death, less feeling trapped, less saying, I'll do that someday. I believe there is something that every person on this planet would like to have more of or less of in their life. And if somebody tells me genuinely they don't want anything different at all, I want to ask them one question. Are you truly content? Or have you simply become comfortable with what you have because you don't know how to change it, or you're scared to change it? Because I think those are two very different things. And so I want to talk about that today, especially for women, moms in their 50s, because I think something happens to us around this stage of life. As a woman in our 50s, we've spent decades taking care of everyone else. Our kids, our families, our jobs, our homes, our partners, our parents, everybody. And somewhere along the way, we can get so overwhelmed and exhausted that we stop asking ourselves what we actually want. We just keep going. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, work, bills, dinner, laundry, appointments, family, sleep, and repeat. And eventually you get to the point where somebody asks, what do you want for your life? And you honestly don't know. Not because you don't want anything, but because you haven't stopped long enough to think about it. Or you feel guilty for wanting something for yourself. I know this because I lived it. For a long time, I was so busy being a mom and working and trying to keep everything together that retirement felt like something way off in the future. I told myself it would work out. Later I'd figure it out. Later I'd have more time. Later I'd worry about retirement. And then one day later arrived and I realized I didn't have enough retirement or CPP. It was never going to be enough. That was my wake-up call for me. Not because I suddenly wanted to become some completely different person. I actually like who I am. But because I realized I had to start figuring things out. I had to stop waiting for later to magically fix everything. That's when I started looking into building something in the digital space. And somewhere along the journey, something else happened. I started thinking about other women in their 50s, women who were feeling exactly like I was feeling. Women who were working, also tired, overwhelmed, also wondering what retirement was actually going to look like, wondering if they had enough, wondering what was next. And I started to realize maybe this conversation is bigger than retirement. Maybe it's about giving women permission to want more out of their lives. Not because their lives were bad, not because they should be ashamed of what we have, but because wanting more doesn't mean you're ungrateful. You can be grateful and still want more. You can love your family and want more time for yourself. You can love your home and want to travel. You can appreciate your job and want more freedom, more time off. You can be grateful for the life you built and decide you want the next chapter to look a little bit different. Things can exist at the same time. And I think we sometimes confuse being grateful with settling. They are not the same thing. Gratitude says, I appreciate what I have. Settling says, this is probably all I can have. And I don't want women to confuse the two, because maybe you don't want more money. That's okay. But do you want more time, more love, more laughter, more adventure, more peace, more connection, more memories with your kids, more time with your grandkids, more travel, more freedom to say yes to things, more freedom to say no, more mornings where you aren't rushing out the door, more weekends that aren't spent recovering from the work week, more life. I have a hard time believing there is nothing that you want more of. And here's where money comes into the conversation. Because I know some people hear more and immediately think she just wants more money. No, money isn't the goal for me. What money can give you is what interests me. Money can't guarantee happiness. Money can sometimes buy choices. Money can buy a plane ticket. Money can make a vacation possible. It can make an unexpected bill a little less terrifying. It can give you the ability to take a day off. It can give you options. It can reduce that financial stress or some of that financial stress. It can give you breathing room. And when you have breathing room, maybe you have more time for the things that actually matter to you. That's why I don't think it's wrong for women in their 50s to want to improve their financial situation. I don't think it's greedy. I don't think it's selfish. And I certainly don't think we're too old or it's too late. But here's the part I really want to talk about. I think there are women who say, I don't want more. But underneath that statement might actually be, I don't know how. I don't have the energy. I'm scared. What if I fail? What will people think about me? I don't understand technology. I wouldn't even know where to start. I'm too old. I don't want to look stupid. What if I lose money? What if people judge me? And those are all very different statements because maybe you don't actually lack desire. Maybe you've lost hope. Maybe you've become overwhelmed. Maybe you've been surviving for so long and dreaming feels exhausting. And I think that happens to more people than we realize. Sometimes settling isn't a choice we make because we're happy. Sometimes settling is what happens when we're tired. And I'm not here to judge anybody for being tired. I've been there. But I also don't want us to stay there. I didn't want to reach another 5-10 years down the road and say, I'll figure it out later. Because eventually, later becomes now. And that's the conversation I think women in their 50s need to start having. What do I actually want? What would make my life feel better? What do I want more of? What do I want less of? What have I been putting off? What have I been telling myself is impossible? And maybe the answer isn't starting a business. Maybe it isn't building an online income stream. Maybe it isn't retiring early. Maybe it's something completely different. Maybe you want to learn something new. Maybe you want to travel. Maybe you want to fall in love with your life again. Maybe you want more time with the people you love. Maybe you want to get out of debt. Maybe you want to create something to help other women. Maybe you want to help other people. Learn from your lessons. Maybe you want to write the book you've been talking about for years. Maybe you want to start a YouTube channel. Maybe you want to go camping more. Maybe you just want a slower, quieter life. Whatever your more is, I want you to give yourself permission to want it because you're not too old and you're not too selfish and you're not ungrateful. You're allowed to want another chapter. And that's actually what I'm working towards for myself. Curtis and I have a vision for our future. We want to be retired. We want to work in the online space because we enjoy it. We want to build our YouTube channels. We want to help other people who are trying to figure out this world that we live in. We want to travel. We want to camp. We want to enjoy our lives together. We want more fun, more freedom, more memories, more love, more time together. And yes, more choices. That's our version of more. Yours might look completely different, and that's the point. I'm not here to tell you what your more should be. I'm asking you to figure out what it is. Because maybe you've been telling yourself, I'm happy with what I have. And maybe you are. I hope you are. But I want you to sit quietly for a minute and ask yourself, am I truly content? Or am I just exhausted? Am I happy with my life? Or have I stopped believing I can change it? Do I really not want more? Or do I just not know where or how to get there? These questions might make you uncomfortable, and that's okay. Sometimes uncomfortable questions are the ones that may wake us up. So if you're a woman in your 50s watching this and you've been feeling like a little bit lost lately, feeling like your best years are behind you, I don't believe that. I think there can be so much ahead. More love, more laughter, more adventure, more purpose, more freedom, more fun, more peace, more connection, more memories, more life, and maybe even more money. Not because money is the meaning of life, but because having more financial choices can help create some of the other things we want. So no, I don't believe everyone needs to want more money, but I absolutely believe there is something more that every one of us can want. And if you've convinced yourself that you don't want anything, I'm just asking you to look a little deeper. Maybe you don't need more, or maybe you've simply been settling because you're tired, scared, overwhelmed, or you don't know where to begin. And if that's you, please don't beat yourself up. Just start asking questions, because you don't have to figure out the next chapter today. You just have to be honest with what you want your life to look like, and then take one tiny step towards that. Because I'm not willing to settle for the idea that my life is supposed to be nothing more than work, bills, and waiting for retirement. And if you're watching this, I hope you're not willing to settle for that either. So make sure you tell me in the comments, what does more mean to you? Not more money, not more stuff. What does more life mean to you? More love, more life, more fun, more freedom, more peace, more travel, more time, more adventures, more hugs, more kisses, more family. I really want to know, because maybe this is a conversation we should be having all along. Maybe we're not too old. Maybe we're not asking for too much. Maybe we're finally at the age where we're allowed to ask, what do I want the rest of my life to feel like? And maybe it's time we stop waiting for later. If this resonated with you at all, make sure you subscribe to my channel so we can chat about it. Have a good day.